Hold up. Lamborghini just rewrote the rulebook on what a modern V12 can be? Meet the Revuelto, a mid-engine plug-in hybrid that somehow manages to be both utterly bonkers and exactly what you'd expect from a modern Lambo. Loud, dramatic, and brutally fast. Over the next 8 minutes, I'm going to walk you through what makes the Revuelto feel special in real life. The design, the drivetrain madness, how it behaves on the road, the interior, charging and range realities, price, and who this car is actually for. No fluff. Just the facts that matter and what they mean when you're the one driving it. First glance is pure Lamborghini theater. The Revuelto keeps that low, razor-edged silhouette, long, sculpted hood, a cockpit pushed forward, and wide hips that look like they were chiseled rather than stamped. The body's full of sharp negative radiuses and aerodynamic creases. The V12 sits on display out back behind a glass window so the engine isn't hiding. It's on show. Up front, you get that trademark horizontal light band and aggressive intake work that's clearly functional. Lamborghini didn't dress this car up for show days. They engineered a shape to make speed behave. It looks like it can split the wind and then lecture it on manners. Now, the part that turns heads at every stoplight, the powertrain. The Revuelto uses a new naturally aspirated 6.5-liter V12 married to 3 electric motors, 2 up front and 1 integrated into the gearbox at the rear. Together, they produce a hair-raising total in the neighborhood of 1,000 horsepower. Reporting varies around 1,000 HP, which is the most power Lamborghini has ever put into a production car. That hybrid setup gives you instant electric shove off the line and the screaming V12 character when you take it up through the revs, a combo that's both visceral and shockingly usable for such extreme numbers. Performance figures read like a sci-fi spec sheet. Lamborghini quotes 0-100 km/h, that's about 0 to 62 mph, in roughly 2.5 seconds, and a top speed north of 350 km/h over 217 mph. Those numbers aren't just bragging rights. They're baked into how the car is engineered. There's electric torque vectoring, a new 8-speed eDCT transmission, and chassis tuning aimed at making huge power controllable rather than chaotic. The result is a car that launches like a rocket, but still lets you modulate throttle and steering inputs in a way that actually feels connected, not terrifying. Let's talk the battery and the practical side, because yes, it's a hybrid, not an EV. The Revuelto carries a relatively small onboard battery compared to luxury EVs. The usable pack is in the single-digit kilowatt-hour range, around 3.8 kilowatts reported in several specs, which is modest but deliberate. Lamborghini's goal here isn't massive electric range. It's performance augmentation and torque fill for instant responses. That means you'll get a few miles of pure electric driving for curbside silence and emissions-free exits. But the battery's primary job is to make the V12 feel faster and the car more agile, not to replace the engine on long trips. On the road, the Revuelto is an interesting study in trade-offs turned into strengths. In softer driving modes, it's surprisingly composed. Adaptive dampers, active aero, and modern chassis tech smooth things out so the car can be used on longer runs without shredding your spine. Ask for it, though, and the Revuelto transforms. The electric motors give an immediate shove at low speeds. The V12 climbs to a 9,000 plus RPM redline with that raw, analog scream Lamborghini fans crave. And the whole package feels more like an orchestra hitting a climax than a jolt of acceleration. Because torque vectoring distributes power intelligently between all wheels, cornering is astonishingly neutral for a wide, high-power car. It doesn't twitch unpredictably, it simply goes where you point it, and fast. Step inside and the Revuelto folds function and theater into a cockpit that's much more livable than you might expect. The layout is driver first. Thick, grippy steering wheel, a clear digital cluster with a focus on revs and gear, and a center stack that puts critical controls within easy reach. Materials are ultra premium, stitched leather, exposed carbon fiber, and purposeful switches. But Lamborghini also added practical touches. Decent storage where you need it, clearer infotainment, and what feels like a more refined HVAC and ergonomics package compared to previous V12 Lambos. It's still a two-seat supercar experience, but one you can live with for a weekend trip rather than just a quick blast. Reviewers who spent time with the car note that the cabin is a big step toward usability while keeping a very intense sensory feel. What about range and charging for road trips? Don't expect Tesla-style cross-country EV behavior here. The Revuelto's hybrid battery is tiny by EV standards. The realistic approach is, think of the Revuelto as a performance-first car with hybrid conveniences. Instant torque, improved throttle response, and short, quiet electric maneuvers around town. For long trips, you're still relying on the V12 and traditional fuel stops. And that's part of the package. Dramatic soundtracks included. Tech is modern where it needs to be. Advanced driver aids, over-the-air updates for certain systems, and Lamborghini's latest active aero and suspension control. The electronics are tuned to keep the driving experience crisp. Less nannying, more assistance when it actually helps, like dynamic stability control that feels predictive instead of intrusive. Lamborghini also added clever usability features compared to past flagship hypercars. Better visibility settings, easier infotainment menus, and a chassis that can be softened for comfort on longer miles. Now the reality check: price and exclusivity. The Revuelto is not subtle in the wallet department. Base pricing sits well into the six-figure zone, commonly reported around $600K plus, depending on market, options, and taxes. And bespoke ad personam customizations can push that much higher. But at that level, you're buying more than speed. You're buying a bespoke, highly engineered halo for the brand, and Lamborghini's customers expect a high degree of customization and theater in return. Who is this car for? The Revuelto targets the buyer who wants the last V12 in its most modern form. Someone who wants that screaming engine character, but also wants the benefits of electrification, where it improves performance. It's for collectors who want a driving flagship that's both a museum piece and a usable supercar. And for enthusiast owners who will enjoy cornering it hard on twisty roads as much as parking it at concours events. There are trade-offs: high running costs, limited pure electric usability, and the fact that a car this extreme is as much about maintenance and specialized servicing as it is about speed. But if your priority is the visceral thrill of a naturally aspirated V12 combined with modern hybrid performance tricks, and you accept the practicalities that come with a halo Lamborghini, the Revuelto is a rare and remarkable answer. The Lamborghini Revuelto is a loud, thrilling bridge between analog supercar soul and modern electrified performance. It keeps the V12's heart beating while using electric power to make that heart even more violent, precise, and usable. If you want something that screams, launches like a rocket, and still lets you live with it for real drives, this is one of the most exciting Lamborghinis in years.